So here we are on the SBI webcomics test podcast. I'm Dave Sperry. This is my brother Andy Sperry, and we are gonna do podcasts. So today, what are we going to talk about? Something. I
There's so
hope
many things to
there's
talk
so many
about
things
today.
going on. If I can get this music, there we go. So I've got a little issues flying around here today, like a lot of issues. One is
Yeah,
the Roe versus Wade. Roe has been. What's the finger?
that was
The
one.
first issue. Okay, the second issue is the January 6th uh, court. The well, I don't know what you call it. The
The court of public opinion.
public opinion, and then what else do we have, Andy?
We got the Supreme Court's decision yesterday on being able to carry your gun
Oh yeah,
concealed.
concealed. And then number four is they did pass some minimal gun control legislation. About as
Yeah,
minimalist as you can get. Very
it,
artistic minimalist.
yeah.
So,
It, it almost did something.
yeah,
It's kind of scary. They almost got something done.
it's the invisible, you know, gun control. So we'll see. You know, in
Yeah,
most
which means
states,
nothing because now I just keep it in here, keep it packed in here. You don't
that's
know if I've
right.
got six. It's us fat guys they got to watch out for
I
because
know. They're always
we're
checking your
packing a
shoulders.
lot of weaponry.
Yeah, what do you
Nobody's
got in
gonna know.
there?
Stay away from those
It's
fat
a
guys.
put your hands above your head and walk. And it's like that's about all I can do. Okay, I got my arms above my head. That was hard enough. You think I'm packing anything extra that I don't carry anything I don't have to carry.
Yeah, this is actually a bulletproof vest.
This is
You're gonna be all these people are buying guns. The rest of us got to get bulletproof vests and fucking full head helmets. We'd
oh,
be walking around like we're from the 12th century. with our with our with our bulletproof everything.
yeah. You think I packed all this stuff in my suitcase? I left that at check-in.
Yeah.
And why am I flying anyway?
Since this will be true for women, there ain't gonna be any sex anymore because you
Oh
don't have to
no.
worry about abortion because you'd have to be getting out of your suit.
Oh, all them young people that are just like, what?
Yeah.
That's the best birth control they could come up with, I think.
I,
It's unfortunate they will probably not listen, and then there's the other predators that will take total advantage of the situation. Well, I don't gotta worry anymore. I can just hop on anything that moves.
I'm packing.
Oh God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little old for all of that, but it just for some reason we can't get our mind off of it.
Because it was a different world that we grew up
I
in.
know. We're still thinking, well, what will they think? Or because we were taught that you have to think about what everybody else thinks.
Right. And now with, all this social media and everything, we all know how many idiots are really out there.
Oh my gosh,
So that makes it even
many.
a bigger concern. So people, you be careful out there. From
Oh
now
wow.
on, do not associate with anybody that you do not know. And those that you do know, make sure that you're very, very careful because
Yeah.
some of them you already know that they're kind of QBs and Trump bees and all kinds of
oh man,
scary people
it's
out
a
there.
very messed up situation in the
Yeah,
United States right now. We've got a lot of control where it should be choice. And they just church and state are just miles together now when they're supposed to be miles apart.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
we've got
that's
we've got
too bad.
9 Pharisees, and so
Oh man.
we no longer have a Supreme Court. We have a Pharisaic court. We
Yeah.
live by the Christian values that they believe in, their understandings of how their interpretations of God vested into the rest of us. We all must follow their interpretation
Hmm.
because they apparently speak to God on a regular basis.
That's what
Being
I'm.
Pharisees, you would expect they would.
Yeah.
And they know the Word of God, and they know exactly what God's mind is, and how everybody else should behave, and so
So
the rest of it in
so
that
that's
world
how it worked.
live under that.
I always
The,
wondered how that worked.
yeah, well, that's I can't. How else can you explain it? I mean,
I
we've
don't know.
lost so many rights. We've lost so much wealth. We've lost our wealth. That happened over the past 30 years.
But they blame it
And
on
we've
other
lost.
people, I guess. Yeah.
Now they're taking away all our rights. They're in the process of taking away those rights. And you know what the most interesting thing is? All these people who are gun lovers trying to protect what they believe is the most important thing on the planet, far more important than their children to them
Yeah.
are their guns, and their guns have more rights than their children. Although if they were a fetus, they'd have more rights. But once you're born in this country, your rights go away.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
only rights that exist are guns. And those gun rights are far stronger. But, what they don't comprehend is that in every society that is a fascist society, um, they take the guns away. You don't
well,
get to keep those guns.
we are
So,
becoming the total
they're going to
fascists.
take your guns, but it's not going to be, the Democrats are going to take your guns. It's going to be these fascist banana Republicans.
So how do we stop this? How do we mold all these guns into something that's positive, not plowshare? We're not trying to go total far to the Russian model, but we'd like to,
Retain our Second Amendment rights,
yeah, kind of
but
like
still
have
make it a safe world.
right, safe
How about
world.
there
Let's
used to be
start
such a
there.
thing as an armory where we stored weapons of war,
Hmm.
and since so many of our guns are weapons of war now,
Yeah,
that's where they should go. You should be able to own one,
yeah. I
but
remember
it
when
should
kids.
be in your home. You should be able to house it in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be worried about Joe Blow's son getting angry at the world because he's been treated bad at school,
Hmm.
and comes and blows away a bunch of preschoolers
Teachers,
because
yeah.
he's angry at his high school friends for treating him like crap, which is wrong. He shouldn't have been treated like crap, but he had access to a high-powered weapon, decides to take it and go blow a bunch of preschoolers' heads off. That's just such a it just makes sense, doesn't it? That should be able to happen in this country, but that's what these gun lovers think. They think that's okay. They should be able to house that weapon wherever anybody, and not even have to store it properly, but not only get access. Well, what am I saying? Once they turn 18, they can just go buy the weapon without
Right.
it. All right, so they can get that weapon.
We couldn't even
Don't
get
worry
3-2
about
beer then.
carry it through the streets. Hey, if you could, and some of these pistols are, pretty high powered too. They can run off 12, 16, 20 rounds, pretty easily. Especially if they're those thin little bullets that explode brains apart and stuff like that. I mean, no problems for them, right? I mean,
Well,
it's okay. I don't care if my son has one of those. Go purchase that on your 18th. In fact, I'll even buy it for you. How many times? Happy birthday, son. Go blow somebody up. What kind of fucking human being is that
I don't
buys
know.
a goddamn gun for their son that's a
Well,
weapon of war?
how do we
You know,
turn these people around? I guess is
how
the
do you turn those people around? Well,
how
that's
how
my
do you
first
reach
idea.
them? Yeah,
Is if you have weapons of war, they belong in an armory.
that sounds good.
That's
That's a
where they
good
go.
start. That's
That's
a good
actually
start.
in the Constitution. That's part of the. They have to be housed somewhere.
And I have a small one that we could do. Maybe we could stop this Christmas cards with guns thing.
Christmas cards with guns?
Yeah, have you noticed that trend where families think, okay, this is a good idea. We'll just show our arrogance and our intense love of guns with our Christmas cards with guns.
Yes.
I mean, that's it. Yeah,
Merry Gunmas.
Merry Gunmas. You know, from our Christian friends.
Christian friend.
And Mary Fetus.
American Jesus.
It's kind of wild. I you know, so that would be a second one. Maybe a third one would just be uh, education about guns. nothing, just how guns work, what they can do, how
Yeah.
dangerous they are. But they might turn it into another thing they fear, which is like, oh, you're just trying to make everybody feel bad because we own guns. That, history of slavery. You're making us, you're dragging the kids through the slavery thing. Now they think it's their problem. So,
That's a fascinating one right there.
right.
You sure don't want anybody to feel guilty for enslaving people.
Yeah.
No, there shouldn't be any guilt associated with that.
No.
Was my grandpappy a slave owner, Daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Get over it.
Probably not a good thing, was
it? Maybe number 4 could be, maybe we should just agree to try to understand each other so that we get to, come to better, agreements on just all these things.
But that requires critical thinking skills, Dave. And that is something the banana Republicans are completely against. Not all Republicans.
Well, the Republican Party.
He's not a banana Republican. But
who's that?
Huh?
Who were you talking about?
Oh,
Adam. Yeah.
What was that? Number 2?
Yeah.
Or number 3? I can't remember.
Yeah. He and Liz Cheney sound like they might have an idea about saving part of the Republican Party with some reason. Yeah.
They're not banana Republicans like Gohmert.
You can still be conservative.
Gohmert. I mean, if you've elected a guy named Gohmert, I mean, really, and I hate to say it, you might be Gohmerts out there. They're perfectly fine people, but I got to tell you, your name, Gohmert.
Well, the behavior.
Maybe I'm picking. But listen to the guy. He sounds like a Gohmert,
Well, he's a little scary, but I would try to understand him if you'll try to understand the rational parts of a lot of these arguments instead of dancing around.
And be rational, though. That's part of the problem, is that you can't have a conversation with people who do not think rationally. If they're not going to be able to think critically through what they're talking about, through what they're reading, it's fine to have an opposing view, but then argue from that point of view. Don't argue from, use the facts, use examples, use, things that actually make sense. Don't just keep repeating.
Maybe buy some books.
What you believe. That's not an argument.
Buy some books that buy some books that talk about history. And maybe read some history, which, that's, a very good area to try to come up with new ideas. Go back in history and see, okay, what happened with all these countries that decided some of these things that they're proposing now were good. When you divide everybody, what happens then?
What happens when you have, militias, brown shirt militias in the streets who are attacking your capital, or brown shirt militias who are threatening people because they have different views.
Like that group that last week.
That's exactly what was going on in Nazi Germany in the late 1920s. That was what was happening. But nobody wants to, on that side, wants to actually read that history and see themselves in that history. They don't recognize it.
Did you see that one?
That's not me. I don't believe
last week. Did you see that one last week where they came out and they brought that van full of guys in uniforms? To the LGBTQ, or was that the one that was out there out west? And in Idaho, I think it was. It was just scary. It was like, oh man, this looks so, Nazi.
Fascist.
So fascist.
Looks like brown shirts.
It's like, wow, right here.
Sure, that's what the Nazi Party did back in the 19.
Right here, in good old America.
Yeah, it wasn't just then. Any of these things, these protests that have been going on, let alone the little weasel from, who went and shot people up in Wisconsin. Who got let off.
Mm-hmm.
Because so not only are they little brown shirts, and then their little sons are brown shirts carrying their automatic weapons or weapons of war into the streets of towns that aren't even the town they live in.
And how do they think that provides safety?
Taking the business as a business you don't even shop in. I mean, That
Weird.
sounds like brown shirts to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a brown shirt.
Well,
And,
the traction is.
stop. If you don't know what a brown shirt is, look under fascism, Nazis, Germany. They had people called brown shirts. And they did basically whatever the fascists told them to do. Can you believe that? Yeah, find out. Look into the history.
Some people told us that. Someone said.
It's a lie.
Well,
Q told me it was a lie.
If you can go find some history books, it's there. Or just some history movies on TV.
Yeah, they're there too.
That works. So maybe that's our homework. Our homework for today on SBI webcomics is to go read some history.
Yeah.
And some books are in movies.
They have it at all levels. If you have to start at the second grade level, it's there too.
Yeah.
You probably won't find out yet about the Nazis in second grade.
So
you'll have to wait till you get to maybe fifth grade before you really start to learn about Nazis.
And oh my
gosh. Might not
gosh.
go deep enough for you, but it'll help you get your reading level up as you're moving up that ladder. And you're older now, so you should be passing grade levels a little bit quicker than you used to when you were a stupid idiot and did not take the time to learn how to read.
I think hopefully over this time period that we talk, we can come to better terms with trying to get people to kind of just agree to educate themselves. It would just be so helpful.
Probably just spending this time is probably just making them angry now.
Yeah, probably.
But you know what? Making people a little bit angry at this point at me is fine.
Yeah.
If you actually pick up a damn book and read it.
And then I'm gonna end on the positive note.
Oh no.
Yeah. I am so surprised, back to Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. I am so surprised and happy to see them represent positive working relationships and coming to an understanding that the United States was built on the Constitution and that they're willing to stand up for that. And some of the people that they've worked with and interviewed in the last 5 sessions have also shown that gut that they have to say, okay, it's worth it. So hopefully we can get people to just
there are Republicans who aren't bananas.
Yeah, and we can disagree on certain things, but we should all have our free choice. So, and safety at mind, and that would be great.
I believe in the integrity of that, that Constitution that they swore an oath to. That, I have the integrity to believe that it was the best thing to do, even when you disagree. So that's some future democracy works.
Future podcasts to look forward to. We'll talk about webcomics and the R-Bomb, which is the Broke Old Men Band, and other topics of interest. But it's time for us to eat lunch, I think.
Old geriatrics think about.
Yeah, what old men think about, and you probably, I don't know what, laugh.
Yeah. Well, it was just too political. I mean, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 were like supercharged today.
Oh well, and we'll just continue
next
on
time,
those.
Maybe 1, 2, and 3 will be less supercharged. Maybe we'll go with something on art and something on music and something book related,
other books,
book
novels,
related.
Book shopping. Yes,
make us happy.
Yes. All right, so we're headed out. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yes, it's been good.